Hello dear students. So in continuation of our discussion, today I will take you through the history of AI. Let us try to understand how artificial intelligence has evolved as a area, as a industry. The objectives of today's session is to understand how AI came into existence, to comprehend the multiple fields contributing to the AI, to appreciate the history of artificial intelligence. The outcomes what expected after this session from you people are: appreciate the contribution of different fields to AI, remember the eminent research works done in the beginning of AI growth, and get inspired, try to work in that direction, comprehend the evolution of AI as an industry. So let us try to understand the areas that influenced artificial intelligence. This diagram shows certain areas. We will discuss a few more things which are not included in this also. The roots of artificial intelligence have been taken from multiple areas such as philosophy, computer science, psychology, neuron science, biology, mathematics, sociology. So all these fields have given their contribution in the growth of AI. Let us see how they have contributed, how different fields have contributed to the growth of artificial intelligence. If you understand the intelligence which is specific, we consider to the human being, to have an artificial intelligence, we need to understand how human intelligence works. That's like, the psychology of the human being, how human being thinks. So some inputs from the psychology, we will see in detail one after the other. So the foundations of artificial intelligence, the various disciplines that contributed idea, viewpoints and techniques to AI. First one to take for is philosophy. Starting from, consider it as 428 BC to even now, it is giving some inputs. It was Aristotle, the great philosopher, we all know. The Aristotle was the first to formulate a precise set of laws governing the rational part of the mind, because we wanted to have systems which can act like human being, which can act intelligently. So something about rationality is also required, a human being thinking rationally. So this rational part of the mind was formulated, or the laws governing the rational part of the mind was first given by Aristotle. He developed an informal system of syllogisms for proper reasoning, which allowed one to generate conclusions mechanically given initial premises. So if initial premises are available, using some mechanical methods, we can simply generate the conclusions. And then there are certain inputs from the field of psychology. The origin of scientific psychology are traced back to the work of German physiologist Hermann von Helmholtz and his student Wilhelm Wundt. In 1879, Wundt opened the first laboratory of experimental psychology at the University of Leipzig. So that was when the people started understanding psychology using certain experiments, experimental psychology. In US, the development of computer modeling led to the creation of the field of cognitive science. If you observe, in western part of the world, in many foreign countries, you find the artificial intelligence under the heading of cognitive science, a branch under the heading of cognitive science. The field can be said to have started at the workshop in September 1956 at the MIT. So we will come to this point again. And the inputs from computer engineering. For artificial intelligence to succeed, we need two things: intelligence and an artifact. Just imagine, can I have brain or can I have thoughts without brain? Mind. Can I have exclusively brain? No, it is not possible. It should be there in some physical structure like body. In the same way, intelligence and an artifact that gives us complete artificial intelligence. The computer has been the artifact of the choice. So computer program has got that intelligence and computer is the artifact, obviously. So AI also owes a debt to the software side of computer science, which has supplied the operating systems, programming languages and tools needed to write modern programs. Those modern programs which has got intelligence are capable of solving high complex problems with ease, higher efficiency, optimized way. So that is possible because of the underlying hardware structure. Control theory and cybernetics. These fields also have given very good contribution. So it was Ctesibios of Alexandria built the first self-controlling machine. The first self-controlling machine is actually a water clock with a regulator that kept the flow of water running through it at a constant predictable pace. So it was a water clock basically. The modern control theory, especially the branch known as stochastic optimal control, has as its goal the design of systems that maximize an objective function over time. So here maximizing objective function, in the other sense I can say maximizing the success. So being rational or maybe performing with a maximum efficiency, that again leads to a best agent case. So performance measure sort of thing. Linguistic, both almost all hand in hand they got developed. Modern linguistic and AI then were born at about the same time and grew up together, intersecting in a hybrid field called computational linguistics or natural language processing. Whatever we do with this of speech to text conversion, text to speech conversion, or sometimes you have this mission translation. So this is all in your language processing, natural language processing. Google has got natural language processing. Alexa includes natural language processing. So these things are there right from beginning of AI. So both grown together, we can say computational linguistic. So when we look at the history of artificial intelligence, almost all the gestation of artificial intelligence happened between 1943 to 1955. There were a number of early examples of work that can be characterized as AI, but it was Alan Turing who first articulated a complete vision of AI in his 1950 article, Computing Machinery and Intelligence. I suggest everyone to go through this particular article. Download it, is really available in the net. Please download and go through once. This is the base paper, based on which actually this artificial intelligence has started growing. So therein he introduced the Turing test, machine learning, genetic algorithms and reinforcement learning. What we think is AI is a new coming up technology, and it's very new, but it's not that way. It has been introduced in the year 1950 by Alan Turing. There was a great enthusiasm, early enthusiasm and high expectations between 1952 and 1969. The early years of AI were full of success in a limited way, of course. There was one this general problem solver in 1957 by Herbert Simon and Alan Neville. They both developed this computer program to build a universal problem solver, general problem solver. That's a universal problem solver mission. The order in which the program considered sub goals and possible actions was similar to that in which humans approached the same problems. How do we do? We try to decompose the problem. If suppose I want to reach from Hyderabad to Delhi, then I'll be thinking like what are the stations I'll be passing in between. So one travel journey from Hyderabad to Delhi is subdivided into multiple destinations, small reachable destinations. So in this way, the order in which the program considered sub goals and possible actions was similar to that in which humans approached the same problems. Thus, GPS was probably the first program to embody the thinking humanly approach. So it has got that approach of how human thinks. In the same way, the program is also trying to emulate the human. And then at IBM, Nathaniel Rochester and his colleagues produced some of the first AI programs. Herbert in 1959 constructed the geometry theorem prover, which was able to prove theorems that many students of mathematics would find quite tricky. So it was like a theorem prover. And then Lisp, which is even now used. Lisp was invented by John McCarthy in 1958 while he was at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And in 1963, McCarthy started the AI lab at Stanford. So next we have got Tom Evans analogy program. This analogy program solved geometric analogy problems that appear in IQ tests. Like for example, can I place a square piece on the triangle tip of the triangle? So is it possible? What can be done? Which can be placed on top of what? Based on its surface or maybe the the tip angle, whatever the case it is. So that's analogy programs were taken into consideration, and then they have been developed. Geometry theorem provers, and this AI lab was started in 1963, and then in 68 analogy program was developed. Then from 66 to 73, a dose of reality has come out. From the beginning, AI researchers were not shy about making predictions of their coming success. So they were very enthusiastic, and they were allowed to say that we are going to be very successful in this field. The following statement by Herbert Simon in 1957 is often quoted. So what he says, it is not my aim to surprise or shock you, but the simplest way I can summarize is to say that there are now in the world machines that think. Please note, it was in 1957. It was in 1957, he says, now in the world machines that think. There are now in the world machines that think, that learn, and that create. No, still that create is not yet realized even today. Moreover, their ability to do these things is going to increase rapidly. So the ability increasing rapidly, which may match with the human ability or which can overtake the human ability. Until in a visible future, the range of problems they can handle will be coextensive with the range to which the human mind has been applied. In 1957 itself, he has foreseen that the coexistence of the range to which the human mind has been applied can be done with the machines, intelligent machines. So that's how the people who are very never shy of, bold enough to give out the success of predict the success of AI. So knowledge based systems, the key to power. Now during 1969 and 1979, the knowledge based systems started developing. Dendral was an influential pioneer project in artificial intelligence. It's like expert system of 1960s and the computer software expert system that it produced. The Dendral was a specific project developed